Hello and welcome to a Q&A here on the channel. It's actually the first time that I'm putting myself in front of the camera like this, at least for a Q&A. But I thought after 5 years, why not try out something new? Obviously, you had the chance to ask a lot of questions, both on my Instagram account and the community tab here on the channel, and you have done so really greatly. There will also be a little bit of repetition because there will be quite a few questions that I've already answered in previous Q&As, but given that there are quite a lot of new people here on the channel, I will also include questions that I might already have answered in previous videos. So if you have already heard the answer to those questions, then I do apologize. But it's really just to try to get everyone on board here. I think I will just start off here with the community tab, work our way through that, and then we will see where we are ending up. Pure Genius, great name, asks, are you planning to sell some of your models? Very good question. I would say yes and no. There are a few models that I have been thinking about selling. It's not something I'm generally going to do. So don't start flooding the comment section with, can I buy this model, can I buy this model? The answer will most likely be no. But if I'm selling something, I'll probably mention it most likely on my Instagram, maybe in the community tab. So then you will know that something's going on. I'll probably do it through eBay. I think that's the easiest to do if I do it. Infinitely Airborne asks, how many models do you have? Do you review every model you purchase? How many models do I have? Great question. I haven't counted them in a long time. You know what, let's make a deal. If I get a few more questions like this, then I will have to count them before the end of the video. But am I reviewing all the models that I'm purchasing? I guess the idea is that I will do that at some point, but have I done it? No. I have plenty of models laying around that I have purchased but never reviewed. I think a misconception that some of you might have is that the last review that you've seen is a model that I've just bought. And that's quite often not the case. Of course, if it's a new release, the chances that I have just about received it is quite high, but most of the time I've had the models around for some time before I get to review them. So I often buy in bulk and then, take some time to work my way through it. If I count them today, I will see how many I have laying around which I have not reviewed yet, because I think we have reached review 314, 15-ish. There should be at least 100 models still laying around that I haven't reviewed, maybe more. Michael Go, how much can you tell us, or in fact, do you know about the possible return of Munich City Airport? Very good question. If you don't know Munich City Airport, that's basically the first airport I did in my series Airport Updates, and it has turned out to be very popular. Obviously, I'm happy about that. The fact is that from the time when I started that series with Munich City Airport till today, I have moved. And that means that I have all the things for the airport. It's totally disassembled. And I currently do not have the space to put it up. So as long as that is the case, I cannot bring Munich City back. I really want to. It's not because I don't want to, it's just I cannot do it at the moment. The Airplane channel asks, are you going to start a new airport in 2020 or continue with Philadelphia or do Munich again? So Munich we've already discussed. Philadelphia I will continue with, that's definitely the plan. I really enjoy that. Am I going to start a new airport in 2020? I'd say at the moment the chances are 50-50. It's quite unlikely that it will happen in the first half of 2020, maybe in the second. I do have plenty of ideas and things I would like to do, but again, there are too many variables for me to say for sure if it will happen or not. But what I do know is that I have ideas, and maybe in the second half. I think it's unlikely in the first half of the year. Then Hang Wai Sang asked, will you redo some episodes of my collection? Another really good question. It's actually something I've been thinking about pretty much since I started that series. So my collection was kind of born out of the request from viewers, from you guys, to show my entire collection, which is very difficult for me to do because one, it would take ages to set it up, and secondly, I think I have too many planes to realistically put them into one video. So I came up with this idea, why not go through my collection one airline at a time. But obviously it takes a lot of time. I try to do the series regularly, but I'm not very good at it. It often takes quite a long time between episodes. So I don't remember when we had the first episode. The first episode was with KLM, and that's maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago. So obviously my fleet has changed since then. I have quite a few more KLM aircraft in my fleet today, and so it would be worth revisiting, absolutely. But I think, honestly speaking, there are still so many other airlines that we haven't taken a look at yet, and where I have enough aircraft models that would warrant to have my collection video of it, that I probably prefer to first go through as many airlines as I can before I start revisiting. FAS or FAS asks, where do you buy all your models? I do quite like the Aviation Center Berlin, where I buy online, and a physical store that I quite like would be there's this little shop at the visitor center at Munich airport. That's a good one. And other than that, I'd say, yeah, when I'm traveling, if I find something in an airport or just random somewhere, yeah. So Bern International Airport 1 to 500 HD asked me, are you happy with your airport hotel logo? He refers to the logo that we have on the hotel logo at Philadelphia Airport, and yes, I'm very happy with it. He's asking cheekily because he is the one who designed it for me, and yes, I am very happy with it. My real question is if you could show us your whole collection in video, like where you put them after recording a review. It will look a little bit like this, basically just in their boxes, either like this, or for example in storage boxes. That way they aren't exposed to direct sunlight, and they don't collect dust, which is the main killer for these models. Then Airborne, are you planning to sell any models? And please do Munich or Cardiff. So selling we've already talked about. Munich we have also already talked about. Cardiff will absolutely come back. Season 1, which consists of 8 episodes, is entirely recorded already. The first 4 episodes are out. If you haven't watched them, feel free to check them out. And the next 4 episodes are coming here in the beginning of the year. I will announce the exact date on my community tab or Instagram, so just keep an eye out for that. But end of January should be when the season continues. Glad Creeper asks, do you take interest in Gemini Jet models, and have you ever been to Exeter or Norwich Airport? I would have to say no to all 3 of these questions. I don't collect 1 to 400, so there's no particular need for me to take a look at Gemini Jets. I have never been to Exeter, and I have never been to Norwich. Fireboy Vlogs and Gaming asks, what is your job? You seem smart. Have you ever regretted a model purchase before? Well, first of all, thank you for the compliment. I don't think I'm entirely agreeing with that statement, but thank you nonetheless. What is my job? Well, I am a video producer, and yes, I have regretted purchasing models before. I would struggle to give you an exact example, but I would say times where I have regretted buying models would have been, for example, when I've purchased a model of an airline that then very shortly after went bust or was purchased by another airline, so merged, so that the brand would vanish. Then we have the question from Sheiks, I think it's pronounced. Do you only have 1 to 500 scale aircraft? And the answer to that would be no, but I only have 2 aircraft at the moment that are not scale 500. One is scale 400 and one is scale 200, which you actually see right there. all of the models at the moment are scale 500. All right, so I think that's pretty much what we can take a look at here from the community tab. Now let's see what you have asked over on Instagram. And Yellow Aviation asked, how many times do you fly in 1 year? That is a difficult question to answer. If we say every time I step on board a flight, an aircraft, so not just a trip, because a trip could be multiple flights if you have a connection flight. But if we say how many times I step foot on an aircraft, then it would be at least 30 times, because that's a requirement to renew your frequent traveler status with Lufthansa. And then I have additional flights here and there. But it varies also from year to year, so it's not a fixed number. It depends how busy I am, what I want to do, where I'm going. But I would say at least 30 times a year am I sitting in an aircraft, and then sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. Another question from Yellow Aviation: what is your best? What is the best airline you have flown on? That is tough, very tough actually. To be honest, honestly speaking, I think most airlines, at least in Europe, are fairly similar. Personally, I like Swiss Airlines. I like Air New Zealand. I've been flying with them quite a few times now, and 2 times intercontinental, actually 3 times intercontinental, and also in New Zealand last year. And it might just be that New Zealand was a really good trip, but I did enjoy my time quite much on board Air New Zealand's aircraft. Personally, I also liked LAN Chile, which of course now is LATAM, but again, that might have more to do with the trip I was on than the actual experience on board. Then we have a question from Julie0572. Where can I buy the model of Amsterdam Schiphol Pier F? eBay. Herpa is not bothered to release it anymore. Best bet, eBay or some aviation collector's fair. Maybe someone has it there. Flymark.uk asks, what is your opinion on Herpa models overall as a company? Despite my collection being in the vast majority from Herpa, I'm actually not a huge fan. I need to explain that. I don't dislike the company as such, but I think there is so much potential for what Herpa could do with their models, and they could really create something stunning. And they should also be much faster in releasing models, and they should release way more airlines than they currently do. But they don't have to, because there is no competition. Sky 500 is not really competition because they never make the same models. Let's say Herpa released an A320-200 of Lufthansa, and Sky 500 released an A320-200 of Lufthansa. That would be competition. Then you could see, okay, I have the same aircraft from 2 manufacturers, which one is better? You don't have that. Sky 500 makes some niche products, some special liveries and stuff like that, and Herpa is doing the rest. So Herpa is struggling, in my opinion, and they are struggling because they have no one to push them. Luka Kovacevic asks, do you have any plans to travel to Serbia this year? My honest answer, no, I don't have any travel plans to Serbia this year. But then again, I haven't really made many travel plans. I have only 1 trip booked so far. This might actually be a year where I'm not traveling that much, but I don't know yet. Who knows? Right, Born Up Pesun asks, do you want to come to Croatia? Yes, why not? But again, I have no immediate plans to go there, but I'm sure. Oscar, I guess, how many models? I really should count them, shouldn't I? J Francisco 2004 asked, are you thinking on doing a video unboxing of TAP Portugal A330neo 100th aircraft? Thinking of yes, definitely. Will I do it? Most likely. Obviously the model hasn't been released yet, but should Happer manage to do that at some point. I mean, they have announced it, but we all know they're always late. There's a good chance that I will do it. It's not guaranteed, but there's a good chance, yes. Geneva Airport. How many models do you have? You guys are persistent. You are persistent. I give you that. Then we have a question from Aviation and Cars. How long did it take you to collect all the aircraft you've got now? I mean, I don't know exactly when I had my first Harper Wings model, but I would probably be 5 or 6. If that is the age where I got my first Harper model, then 25 years. It's not something you do, you know, you're not from one day to the other having hundreds of models. One, you can't buy that many models because they're not on the market. The other thing is it would be ridiculous to even try to do that. It's a waste of money. Just take your time. Over time, something comes that interests you, buy that, and that's fine. And it's never a race, so yeah. Bonapezon with another question. Swiss or Turkish Airlines? That would be Swiss for me. Timster08, how much do you spend on models? Too much. Another question from Timster08, make a picture of your whole collection. It's not really a question, is it? It's more a demand. Okay, look, let's say it like this. There are quite a few models, and it would take ages to set up. If we reached a crazy milestone on my YouTube channel, 10,000 subscribers, which we would never do. Let's say we did. I'd make a video with all aircraft models I have at the time in one go. Bonapezon, favorite trip? That's a good question. I've had some really awesome trips to Chile. I really love the country. I had a trip to Hong Kong, that was really nice. New Zealand was a really awesome trip as well. I had this summer a really good trip to Greece. What was so good about that was that, I mean, one, I got to go to Skiathos, which has an awesome airport. But then I went to the main peninsula to visit some good friends. So I did get to experience the country not as a tourist, but as a Greek. I got to see the real Greece, and that was awesome. I mean, I was invited to I got invited to a pre-wedding party, a Greek pre-wedding party, and that was already way bigger and crazier than a wedding would be in Denmark. So that says it all. It was really awesome. It was such a nice trip. So Chile, Hong Kong, New Zealand and Greece. Those are really, really awesome trips that I will never forget. Let's see, we have a few more questions and we have a little bit more time still. Miniature airports, how many models do you have? Ah, God. Okay, okay. I will count them. I have to now. I mean, you've asked me so many times just in this video and you're asking me constantly. So let's see. Let's take a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
2,000 years later.
All right, that took some time. I don't know if I want to answer now, to be honest, because I did not think that there were that many. In the past, I've answered 400 plus, because I thought I was around just over 400 models. I'm not. Oh my God. It's 592 models currently. That's stupid. How long do you belong with aviation? From Saint Dominic Airport. How long? I guess the question is how long have I been into aviation, stuff like that. I can't really say a specific time or date because it's just been part of my life, all my life. I mean, I was a toddler. I was a few months old when I was first time put on a plane, and I've been flying around ever since. And when it's something you do so frequently and your family does so frequently, then at some point you just, it's a part of your life and you start taking interest in it. Hunspotter asks, do you have a very rare plane? I guess I would have some. I mean, with the amount of models that we have now established, there will be some models that are very rare. It's not really something that it's not really important for me if they are very rare or not. The important part for me is if I like them or not. BongoPlanes with a few more questions. Düsseldorf or Cologne? I guess as an airport, I think Cologne is quite nice. Although for spotting, I would probably go to Düsseldorf because there are more airlines going there, more routes. Yeah. BongoPlanes then also asked Frankfurt or Munich Airport, and that is 100% Munich Airport. Frankfurt is awful. If you don't have to travel via Frankfurt or through Frankfurt, don't do it. The airport is terrible. A question from Hamsik Hamus 1. I do apologize if I have butchered your name. What is your favorite model? Oh, that's also a difficult one. I don't think I have one favorite. And that would probably also change all the time. I do like my small Avro jets. I have an RJ100 of Air Berlin, I have an RJ100 of Brussels Airlines, I have an RJ85, I believe it is, of Titan Airways. I now also got my hands on the RJ85 of Lufthansa. Awesome little model, I love that. But there's so many, it's difficult to pick one. Sorry. Twente Airport, how old are you? 31. Favorite airline? Swiss. That's from Herper Collector. Louis STRG, new airport update from Munich City Airport, please, with all your aircraft. That will never happen because how could I ever fit 592 aircraft into Munich City Airport? There's no chance. And obviously, as we've talked about, Munich City Airport is on an extended hiatus. Then, Aviation KA, which 3 models, in your opinion, should be released by Herper in the future? Good question. 110% Herper has to make a model of an EasyJet. It's ridiculous. How can they not have released anything yet? I mean, it cannot be because there is an exclusive license, because there are more than one manufacturer in scale 400 that make EasyJet models, so that can't be the issue. So why they are not making EasyJet models in scale 500 is beyond me, but they need to do that. It would be a banger. It would sell so quickly because the market is starved for it. They really would need to do that. They could also make a re-release of a 737-800 from Ryanair. They have only made one, and that's ages ago. Can we think of a third one? You know what? Why don't you leave in the comments what you think Herper should release in the future? I would say a re-release of the 737-800 from Ryanair, and then EasyJet. 19, 20 and 21. Then we have from CAF Production, fan meeting in Muck, or Munich Airport if you don't know the 3-letter code. I don't think anyone wants that. I'm not that important. I don't think, one, I'm not in Munich, so I would have to travel there, but honestly speaking, it's a nice airport. I would travel there definitely just to go to the airport. That's not the issue, but I don't think anyone wants that. How do you pronounce this? Lowy VG? In which country do you live? I live in Denmark. Lowy VG, are you a pilot? And that would be a no, I'm not a pilot. Fly Rennie asks, scale 400 or 500? I collect 500, so I should probably say that. On the other hand, if I'm totally honest, if I was starting to collect models today, I would probably go for 400. And that is just because there is more competition. There's a better choice of aircraft model. If there's one aircraft type of a manufacturer that you don't like, there's a good chance that you can get this from a different manufacturer. That is not an option in 500. So if I was starting from scratch, I would probably go for 400. One 500 collector, what was your first model? That I am not entirely sure of, but I know the two first models I have. I just don't know which order I got them. One is the 767-300 of Scandinavian Airlines, which I do think was the first I had. The other one is the 737-700 of Maersk Air, but as I'm not entirely sure which one was the first. Then Cincy Spotter 210, what types of aircraft models would you like to see made more often? I would like to see more regional aircraft, small single-aisle aircraft, ATRs, Dash 8s, ERJs. I would love to see some even smaller regional aircraft like the Dorniers or Saab. That would be awesome. Herpa won't make that, but it would be really awesome to see that. Aviation K asked, Airbus or Boeing? Airbus all the way, and that has always been like this, also way before the recent troubles Boeing is in. Mustonen Valteri, will there be versus videos in the future? Would love to see them more. That is a very good question. To be honest, versus is a little bit dead, which is in a way sad because I actually also quite like them. But the concept of versus, if you don't know it, I don't blame you because I haven't made any new episodes in ages, was originally that I compared a old generation aircraft model from Herpa Wings with a new generation aircraft model. And I could do that to some degree, but obviously I'm not buying old generation aircraft models and I only have a very limited amount of old generation aircraft models. So there was already there a natural end to the series in the sense of what I could do. The last episode of Versus I did, I was actually quite happy with from the concept, because what I did there was to compare a Sky 500 model with an Herpa Wings model. And I think that really makes sense for the series. But then we come back to the issue that there isn't really any competition. In the series, I would always ignore the liveries, but the fact is still that there are often details within the liveries, details that are maybe not part of the livery, but just details in the print. That would be details of the aircraft. And given that we never have, for example, as I said, an A320-200 Lufthansa and an A320-200 Lufthansa of Herpa and respectively Sky 500, it's difficult to compare these models. And if that changed, I would love to bring it back. But as it is at the moment, I don't think there's really enough to get the series back on track. So honestly speaking, I think for the moment this series is dead. Alright, so for the last bunch of questions, let's quickly go through them so the video won't be too long. Liam Stuff asks, have you been to Asia? I've been to Hong Kong. I've had a stopover in Singapore. Miniature Herpa asked, why do you have so many model planes? Well, because I collect them. Jamie C 485, what's your favorite aircraft? In real life, that would be to travel with absolutely 100% the CS 100 or 300, also known as the A220-100 and A220-300. That is an absolutely fantastic aircraft to travel in. And here's another question. Wow, here's quite a lot of questions. Do you have any other hobbies or interests? Yes, I do actually. I mean, aviation is obviously the interest that probably has taken over the most, that I'm cultivating the most and spending the most time and money with. But I do have other interests. I'm very interested in politics. I'm very interested in sports, especially football, and history. I do quite like history as well. So yeah, politics, sports, mainly football and history. And then, how long have you been collecting aircraft models? And I've had models since an early age, but really collecting, like where you don't just toy around with them, where you properly take care of them, maybe display them and stuff like that. I think that started for me sometime in the teens. So yeah, sometime in the beginning of the teens, I guess. That's when I really started to have an interest in it. Then it died completely for maybe 10 years or so. And then it slowly came back and has then developed into what it is today. All right, guys, I've tried to answer as many questions as possible. I hope this video hasn't turned out to be super long, but hey, it's the beginning of the year. It's ages ago since we've last done it, and I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope I have been able to answer your questions to your satisfaction, and I hope that we can continue this, continue this channel. It is a really fun project for me. It is my hobby, but it is something I enjoy quite much, and I would do this all if there was one watching. But obviously, the more people are around, the more fun it gets. So I do appreciate all the support and love you show to me. So for that, thank you very much. Now, it is really time to end the video. So yeah, once again, thank you for having watched. I hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.